How you doing, guys? This is KANE from THREADS. Here we are in Shibuya in Tokyo. It is May 5th, 2025. And thanks to Daniel, our drummer, we've got a very special guest right here.
Hello, everybody.
Would you like to tell us your name and who you are, please? If that's all right.
This is Enrico Sesselego from Italy, originally from Italy, here for some work here in Japan. And one of the work is your album.
Yes.
We just done it. We're just making the backing track the files on 2 drives, which is kind of long as the session itself, but it's the way it is.
So, Enrico, do you actually stay in Japan, or do you go back and forth, or do you?
I actually go back and forth. I don't live here because I do have a steady gig in conservatory music in Italy at the moment. But I still have clients in India, South America, all Latin America, South Africa, and some Middle Eastern, like Armenian and something like that.
So basically, what he's saying, he's a professional, and this is really
try to be this.
This is really exciting for me personally, and I'm sure THREADS as well. We got first chance to get to work with a professional, so we were very excited and very nervous, but we got the job done. Would you like to tell us like a highlight of your career or something that's in your memory?
Sure.
You know, whatever you think is.
Okay, I like my career. Okay, I grew up. I'm coming from Italy, but I actually studied contemporary guitar and audio engineering in United States, in Los Angeles, at the GIT and RIT department, which is the mecca of this kind of stuff, back in '99. And because of that, after that, and because I did pretty well, whatever, I started working with Steve Vai and his personal record label, which is called Favorite Nation, or used to be called Favorite Nation. So I got to work with a lot of people, from Greg Koch to the Yardbirds when they come back, and they did with the Slash, with Jeff Beck, and Steve Lukather.
And don't forget THREADS.
Yeah, the THREADS afterwards. That is afterwards. And what happened afterwards, I started, because I was doing pretty well, they called me back to teach in the Musician Institute. Mm-hmm. So I used to teach Musician Institute, like record engineer, signal flow, Discord, and all this stuff for 6-7 years. And in the meantime, after Steve Vai, I went to work with Paul Gilbert, did some studio album with them. And moved to Nashville for a short bit because I hated it, but it was nice to teach at SAE in Nashville. And then finally I went back to Europe, but from there I never stopped doing the stuff because I worked with Paul Gilbert for 4 tours, European tours, Thomas Lang on drums. And plus, I started doing this Japanese gig like 11 years ago. Something
so you're
like
back and forth to Japan?
Yeah, this is my 25th time in Japan.
Wow. Awesome.
And what I come here usually for is like workshop and master classes, like audio production, mostly mixing master classes, like on topic. So tomorrow we're gonna be here. Actually, we want to spend some words about the place too.
Mm-hmm.
We're gonna be here for like an acoustic guitar recording workshop, 3 hours, with vice director Chris Hughes.
It's not just rock and roll; it's all kinds of genres.
Yeah. Actually, yes, I do less jazz maybe, but definitely rock, definitely heavy metal, definitely Latin, and acoustic stuff. I do a lot of like orchestra stuff and all of that too.
So you had just had 3 days with THREADS. Is there anything that you think about our band or our music or any advice, that kind of thing?
Actually, you guys did pretty well. I think that we actually we planned it well with the headmaster, which is Tomo-san. Right. And we planned well. I think everybody was. I mean, the key point in the studio is to be prepared. Right. Come here with all the parts down, even little details, metronome ready to play on top of it, which is not really. It's not guaranteed it's gonna go like this. A good musician doesn't mean he can perform better, good in studio too. I mean, it's pretty.
Well, it's the whole pie. I mean, writing songs, performing, practice, rehearsal, and then being in a sound studio with an engineer is one major piece.
And it's a different stress, right? Because you got the time crunch.
So you got to get used to it, right?
You're in studio, people watching you, people waiting for you. So of course, it's delivering
all that stuff.
Issue. Not on my side, on
but
your side.
It's definitely like a huge learning curve for me because this is the first time being with someone at this level. So for our Japanese cousins here in Japan, what advice would you give young musicians or any musicians in Japan? What would you say to them?
The Japanese market's kind of strange now. But it's very, I mean, all the recording school and everything, numbers of students studying the stuff is going down a little bit because of maybe less interested, more AI coming into place, and people are learning less and less instruments, but that's overall. all over the world.
Do you think that's a discipline, kind of skill thing? It's
I
too
mean,
much?
playing an instrument is like doing
It's
sports. I
it's a
think
craft.
the closer thing is like doing sports. Like you need to know that you
Sacrifice.
practice today, tomorrow, and for 6 months, and then you get some results. It's not like plug and play thing.
Yeah, of
So
course, yes. It's the same with singing. So.
yeah, exactly. Same for instrument, singing itself. I mean, of course, all the music. The only thing is what's happening now. People are less interested in instrument practicing or learning because they're more into drum beats, doing sampling stuff, sequencing, which is just a laptop thing.
Yeah.
Okay, so real quick, what about the like a projection for the forecast for the future in terms of what you just said? People are not learning this; it's all AI and stuff. Do you think we're going to be losing our actual players?
No, I think live performance is gonna be always going. Maybe the recording
Right,
interest itself is gonna squeeze to very simple AI algorithm. But even my work, I think in 10 years from now, can be gone in a way. But you're still gonna have all the the live session stuff, the live FOH as far as in terms of people playing too, and I think it's gonna change quite a little bit. I don't know if for the worse. I think it's good to record real instrument because maybe sooner or later there's not gonna be so much recorded instrument anymore. In that topic typical sense, I think that's what I thought. I think the really genre that is gonna survive for sure is classical music because there's always gonna be some classical training, so you're gonna always need to do the classical training stuff.
Good. Well, the future looks bright for live bands, so that includes us. Anyway, Enrico, it's lovely to meet you. What a pleasure. Thank you for the insight.
You.
Again, we're so excited to get to work with our professionals. So, rock on.
Thank you.
Three
Thank
threads.
Can I say a word about the studio? We need to just say
Of course,
hi.
yes.
We're very lucky to be here because being in the heart of Shibuya, this is a magnificent studio, and it's not easy to find studios in a reasonable, nice environment and price and treatment. So I really want to thank Chris Jurgensen. We need to thank him, which is the vice president and founder of the TSM school chain. We got to use the studio, which is a beautiful SSL, beautiful mics, beautiful mic pre's. And it's very interesting. This is the very first time I do like a session, not masterclass, session in Tokyo for some clients in such a nice studio.
Well, thank you, TSM, and thank you, Chris, here in Tokyo. Thank you from Three Threads.
Cheers.